Hi class, just back here again, and this time to talk about hunger. And so let me share my screen. I tried to do it in advance so as not to waste anybody's time, but just couldn't do it. All right, so what the heck? All right, slideshow from current slide. Oh, look at that, I just added a slide. Okay, so today I'm talking about hunger. I want to remind you that in chapter 9, we're just doing 9.3. We won't be doing 9.1 or 2. So let's take a look at those objectives. Since we're doing a small section of a chapter, they're not too many. I want to describe the steps involved in digestion, and I want to describe today, identify how people differ in food selection. So first, the steps involved in digestion. Digestion, what happens when you eat a hamburger or anything else? Well, what's going to happen in the mouth is that your saliva is actually helpful for digestion. It is going to start breaking down mainly carbohydrates because those are fairly easy to break down. And then you're going to get this peristalsis sort of down your esophagus, and it's going to kind of take the food down. Those are contractions. And then the food is going to go down to your stomach where you're going to digest a lot of proteins. And then it'll go from this through the stomach. You can see there into the sphincter muscle, into the small intestine, where there's going to be a more protein digestion, and also fats and carbohydrates are continuing to be digested. And then that is where, in the small intestine, is where absorption occurs, meaning that your blood starts to take away the nutrients and take them to the rest of your body. And then there's some left. The large intestine is going to absorb water and minerals. And then the rest, whatever's left, is going to make up your doo-doo. Okay. So let's talk about how people differ in food selection, because it turns out there are some cultural differences in food selection that have to do with physiology. So dairy products is an area where we get some cultural differences. So normally in mammals, you're going to have dairy products when you're a kid, when you're very small, for example, some kittens or puppies or calves are going to drink from their mother. And in order to do that, in order to breastfeed, you're going to have an intestinal enzyme called lactase, and that is going to digest the milk sugar, which is called lactose. And you might note the origin of that term from lactate. It's all has to do with milk. So at any rate, but for what's going to happen for most animals is they're going to lose that enzyme lactase, and so then they don't digest milk very well as an adult. But many humans continue to be able to digest milk because they retain that lactase, but it's going to vary quite a bit by culture. So we see a lot of European Americans being able to tolerate lactose, but most African Americans are intolerant of lactose, and so they're just they don't have the enzyme and are unable to digest it. And so then you can see you get all kinds of diarrhea and bloating and cramps and things like that. So if you can't drink milk, no big surprise, lots of people in the world can't drink milk. And if you look at for example, African cuisine, you don't see a lot of dairy products, but if you look at European cuisine, you do see a lot of dairy products. Okay, well, I want to talk a little bit about the control of hunger. So in terms of the physiology of hunger, some of it is just the feeling of food in the mouth. You want something in the mouth. So people who have food pumped into their stomach, they might get plenty of nutrients, but yet they feel unsatisfied. That said, taste and chewing is not enough, because if we allow a person to taste and chew, but yet pump the food right out and it will bypass the stomach, we call that sham feeding, then they'll tend to eat too much because they don't get satisfied. So part of it is the satisfaction of the taste and the chewing, but part of it is also the feeling in the stomach. So let's look at, we'll look at the feeling in the stomach next time and talk about what's going on in there. All right.